back to Raising Ausome. I'm Keelie. I'm a part of the social media team here at Raising Ausome, and this is Angela.
Hi, I'm an RDI Consultant here at Raising Ausome.
And today we're going to do a Q&A video just like last time, but holiday edition.
Let's do it.
Let's get into it. Working in this industry, we receive a lot of questions, especially around the holidays, of why are my kids acting this way? Why is it such a difficult time? So we have some of the most frequently asked questions here written down for you guys today. Why can the holiday season be challenging for autistic children and their families?
Okay, so the holidays tend to be a bit of a change for a lot of our autistic kiddos because they've, with being out of school, they've lost that routine, the structure of school, the predictability of school. Often what families tend to do is, as parents, we want them to experience the magic of Christmas. So we end up maybe overbooking them with, we're going to go to this holiday party. We're going to go to this family gathering. Next, we're going to go see Santa. And now we're going to go to a parade. Now we're going to go to a tree lighting. All those things, while they can be really magical for the child, they can also be extremely overwhelming and overstimulating. So overstimulation, we have lights, we have sounds, we have new smells and new food. We have so much more social commitments than we have typically for the rest of the year. Everyone wants to see everyone over the holidays. And for a lot of autistic kids, that can be quite overwhelming for them. So those are the biggest ones: the sensory, the change of routine, and the social expectations. With the change of routines, what we know is predictability equals safety. Our nervous system likes when we know what's predictable. And so when we're kind of taken out of that predictability, the nervous system can kind of get a little loud. And so that's why the school plays such a big part with the holidays and how taking the kids out of that routine can cause some additional stress and, struggles.
I think you have it spot on, Angela. Even as an adult, I feel overwhelmed sometimes with all the family gatherings. There's so much going on all the time, and you almost feel obligated to always show up and always be there, and that can be really hard for a child, especially not having the routine that you typically have. Typically you're in school, and now all of a sudden you're not at school and you're seeing all these people that you don't often see. It can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
All right, going into the next question, we have, what are some ways parents can help their child prepare for the holiday changes?
Well, the first is going to be to download our survival guide for autistic parents, because that's going to really help set you on the right path for your child over the holidays. I would also say it's good to have predictability wherever you can. So as we just discussed, the nervous system likes predictability. So if you're going to, say, grandma and grandpa's house for dinner, let your child know what to expect. You can either write it out for them, use a calendar, use a visual schedule. You can, whatever works for your family and your child, but let them know. So today we're going to go to grandma and grandpa's. You're going to see grandma and grandpa. You're going to see auntie and uncle. And we're going to open up some presents. We're going to have dinner. And then we're going to come home. That way they know what to expect. That eases a little bit of their heightened anxiety of, okay, we're going to someone's house. I don't know who's going to be there. I don't know what's expected of me. By providing them this as much as we can, that's really helpful. Now, in the holidays, we know things come up unscheduled and we can't always have the answers, and that's okay too. But wherever possible, providing them that predictability is incredibly helpful for them.
So do you find that giving them like a day's notice or maybe a week's notice would be better?
It's really up to the child. Some kids, if you're telling them a week in advance, they're now fixating on that and stressing about it. So it's really up to the child and the parents to kind of decide that. I know personally with myself and my son, We typically, about a day in advance is really helpful for him to just kind of get things mentally prepared. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to be seeing my cousins. We're going to be doing this. And he'll ask me questions along the way as like, oh, okay, well, what are we doing after? Are we going to go to this person's house after? No, we're not going to go to that person's house. We're just going to this. He wants to know as much as we can give him.
Okay, so he likes the not super last minute, but more of a day's notice, but still loves the predictability.
Yeah, and it's different for every child. What we often use in my house is a calendar. So he can see well in advance if he's interested. Like he count down the days to Christmas.
Of course,
he can see all the things on the calendar. Now he's 9 years old, so he's able to read and being able to see those things where a younger child maybe not be able to at that point. So using stickers or using a visual schedule for the day can be really, really helpful because autistic individuals tend to be visual learners. They love to see those visuals. So creating a visual schedule for the day can be really, really helpful. Maybe for the older kids, keeping that simple routine consistently. So say they wake up every morning, well, they have school during the school year, and they wake up every morning and they have their bowl of cereal. Maybe during the break, keep that consistent so that that's a constant that they have. They know what they're going to be having for breakfast. They know that routine inside and out. And for them, that's a good way to start their day. And another family I just spoke with, actually, they put such a stressed importance on their bedtime routine. That child needed to have a certain bedtime routine. And for them, it is not worth it to have a late night family gathering and mess up that bedtime routine. So they've already acknowledged the importance of that. And so they're keeping that consistent no matter what.
Okay, so kind of keeping your routines the same if possible.
If possible, yeah. I think everyone thrives somewhat in routines.
I agree.
I think during the chaos of the holidays, having that something concrete to hold on to is really beneficial.
Especially with the downtime, like releasing everything through the day, having your bath or shower, dinner, all that.
Your bedtime routine, your book and sleep, and it would be really good for their nervous system.
Okay, awesome. Okay, on to the next question. What should parents be aware of when planning sensory-heavy activities?
Right. So over the holidays, there is a lot of sensory things happening, whether it's blinking lights, singing, people singing, just being around a lot of people, temperature regulation, as much as that you're going from inside to outside, and it's
so cold.
It really can throw things off. It's really important that parents recognize that if you're bringing your child to an environment that does have a lot of sensory concerns, or there potentially could be a lot of sensory, we want to come prepared. So predictability, you talk to your child beforehand. Tell them, hey, tonight we're going to go to the parade. And last year you loved going to the parade. But I remember that the sirens were a little loud. So this year, I'm thinking we should wear headphones. That could be something to help them prepare for that. So you're coming now with a pair of headphones. Maybe the lights might be too bright. Pop on some sunglasses. Who cares if you're wearing them at night? If it helps, it helps. Not to mention, if it's too cold out, maybe bring some of those disposable hand warmers.
Oh, those are so nice.
Right? Something, or bringing an extra jacket. Layers, parents. As much as possible, layer your kids, because it's so much easier to just, pull off a layer than it is to somehow happy medium. So yes, always, and be mindful of that. We go the whole year maybe just wearing jeans and a t-shirt, or sweatpants and a t-shirt, a long sleeve, a hoodie, and now all of a sudden you're having to wear a scarf. You're having to wear mittens or gloves. You're having to wear this big bulky jacket. It can be quite hard on the child. if it's not something that they're regularly wearing, as well as if they have material or texture concerns, that can be really hard for them to wear those types of clothing. So we talked a bit about the parade kind of thing, how you can bring some extra accommodations such as the headphones or the heating hand warmers. Now, if you're going to, say, a family event, and there's going to be a lot of people there, there's ways that we can do what we like to do is like create a sensory or a survival kit. Bring a bag, work together with your child to say, okay, today we're going to go to, say, grandma and grandpa's. There's going to be about, maybe 10 people there. It could get loud at times. Let's work together to find some supply or some things that you would need to help you stay regulated. Maybe it's a weighted stuffy. Maybe it's some fidgets. Maybe it's some headphones or whatever, a soft textured item, something, one of their comfort items, whatever.
A blanket or a stuffed animal.
Yeah, blanket, something that they feel very comfortable with. And you always remember to add in snacks. No matter what, no matter where you go, bring snacks, bring extra snacks, bring backup snacks to your extra snacks.
We love snacks.
We know what happens when people get hungry. Yeah. So just make sure you always have some snacks and water. That is always the must-haves in any survival kit. And so you can make this before the event. You can work with your kid. So it's something you get to do together. That way they know exactly what's in the bag. So should a situation come up where they're feeling, a little dysregulated, they're going, oh, this is getting too loud, they know, hey, I have headphones in my backpack. And they can just grab them and put them on. It's a great way to start advocating for themselves.
Definitely.
So another thing we can do is beforehand, you can talk with, say, grandma and grandpa and say, hey, little Johnny, he's having a bit of a tough time. Is there a place that he can go to kind of help him regulate so we can regulate together? Maybe it's a spare bedroom or whatever, and you can bring his sensory bag in there, and you can maybe just go in there when he needs a break, when you need a break, and you guys can just kind of hang out 5 minutes. Even 5 minutes of just calm regulation is so much more helpful than just staying in that constant high anxiety, mode that, you could be in those types of situations.
I love that idea of finding a nice little cozy room that you can just regulate, decompress, gather yourself again, and go back out there. I did have a question. What if the child wanted to instead help out and be involved with the dinner and involved with the people compared to finding a regulated space? Like, what if they wanted to help out in the kitchen or something?
Yeah.
What are some ways they could do that?
Oh man, there's so many ways that kids can help out in these social gatherings. Now, one of the funnest ways, I think, is include them in whatever it is that's needing done. So say you're making your turkey dinner, right? Kids love to help out where they can. And so maybe they can have a role in that. Maybe it's putting out the cutlery. Maybe it's starting to help with cutting up some of the vegetables for the stuffing or for dinner. There's lots of little micro roles that they can take part in that will kind of make them feel so much more included, and you're not going to overwhelm them by doing it. So assigning a role and it can be really, really beneficial. One of the things I used to do is when I was a kid, because I used to hate family events, but my grandpa, he always passed me the camera. So I got to be the photographer.
Sweet.
In hindsight, it was really a really special way because I was always the dedicated or designated photographer.
And dedicated.
And I was able to be a part of the group dynamic without having that pressure of being involved in it. I was capturing those moments, but I didn't necessarily have to participate in all the conversations and all the activities, but I got to be a part of it in my own way.
I would love to see those photos just from little Angela's point of view. Everybody's standing up. Oh, that would be so sweet.
Well, as I grew older, I was like, why wasn't I in any photos? And my mom was like, because you were always the photographer.
Because you took them all.
But, you know,
that's so sweet.
It's okay. It's okay.
So sweet. Yeah, I find working with kids, the role assigning helps so much, especially for me. I love baking with the kids that I work with, and just especially the cleanup, just like, hey, like, I'm going to grab all the dishes, can you grab the utensils? Or I'm going to take the dishes off, can you wipe the table? And just like giving them that role and giving myself a role as well, so they don't feel like they're doing everything, I feel helps so much.
Yeah, so it's a great way to include the kids, even if it's something as simple as, okay, we're going to have a race and let's see who can pick up all the wrapping paper the fastest.
Turn it into a game.
Exactly. Then you get all the kids on the ground scrambling, trying to grab all the wrapping paper, and it's a fun thing. Now, talking about social gatherings, one of the things I did want to touch on is it can be very hard to advocate for yourself and for your child during family and gatherings. Now, every family has a different dynamic.
Always.
But I really want to stress the importance to parents that although you may have done things a certain way, you may have your traditions, you may have your family's traditions that you've always done. If it's not something that works for your family, it's okay to change the dynamic. And it's an incredibly hard thing, but you need to do what is best for your family.
That's very important.
And if your child really struggles with certain things, whether it's going to the parade, if that's too much for your child, then it's okay to take a step back and say, you know what, maybe this year we're going to, instead of going to the parade, we're going to go look at Christmas lights, drive around in our pajamas, drinking hot cocoa, and watch the Christmas lights together. That is something that might appeal more to your child's needs at this moment. So the social gatherings can be very tough. Oftentimes there's a lot of social demands, obviously, you know, interaction, catching up, small talk, and it just doesn't maybe come easily to everyone. And so advocating for your child, whether it's, I'm sorry, we're not doing hugs to say hello right now. You know, we can give a high five or a fist bump, or maybe if your child struggles with eating foods that are not their preferred foods, bring a special plate for your child for them to, so that way they can still be involved without the pressure of having to try new foods.
Exactly.
And if you have an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent that has a comment about that, it is okay for you to say, we're doing what we feel is best for our family. He's already got a lot of other overwhelming things happening right now. Getting him to try a new food isn't high on our priority list. So thank you for your advice, but no thank you.
But no thanks, but no thanks.
Exactly.
You could also bring a plate of food, and if they're open to trying something new, just throw a little side on there.
Exactly.
They don't have to try it all, but if they're open to a little something.
Exactly. Yeah. We just want to try to make things as easy as we can for ourselves as well as for our kiddos.
Okay, I know we've talked a lot about how to prevent an overwhelm and how to stay regulated and all those types of things, but what if you see your child becoming dysregulated or happen to already be in an overwhelm?
Right.
What are some steps that we can do?
Okay, so one of the things with when you start to notice any sort of dysregulation, now again, this is going to be different for every child.
Of course, yeah.
But if you start to notice them withdrawing maybe, or maybe their body is starting to move really, really fast. They're, like hyperactive, moving all around, touching everything. Maybe they're starting to get emotional, or they're starting to yell, deep breathing, all kinds of those signs. As parents, we always want to kind of keep an eye on those signs, because those are our telltale signs that, hey, something's going on. Hopefully, ideally, we're able to kind of capture it before it turns into a bigger, overwhelming situation. And we can say, hey, I noticed your body is moving really fast right now. I think it might be a good time for us to take a little break. And then just go to your safe space, or, even just step outside, take some deep breaths, both you and your child. And then ideally, they will start to regulate. Now, that's not always how it pans out, and that's okay too. When we have a situation, and sometimes the situations aren't ideal, but that's okay. If you're at an event and your child all of a sudden is on the ground screaming, that's okay. You're human. Your child is human. Everyone at that event is human. They will understand. What I want you to do, parents, is I want you to connect with your child. I want you to get down on their level. And I want you to just tell them, I'm here with you. I understand this is really hard right now. And just connect with them. You're going to deep breath, and you're going to wait for them to come through. Now, it's tough, because when we're in certain social situations, it is really hard to just allow your child to scream and cry. And it's not ideal. Ideally, we want to be able to take that break beforehand, so that they're able to regulate. But if it does get to that point, I really want you to find a way to connect with your child and let them know that it's okay that they are having these big feelings. Doesn't make them a bad person. They're not embarrassing you. It's okay. We're all human. And then I really want you to take that time to connect. Once they're regulated, you're going to reflect on what was it that caused it maybe. Oh, I saw that, all the lights and all the people talking, it was just too much. And then you're going to provide them with the next time strategies of what we can do next time. So if you're curious about learning this approach more, I encourage you to take a look at the Calm Approach podcast that we have. That goes into it much deeper.
Very detailed.
Yes. Very detailed. A way that we can approach it. Really, during the holidays, or anytime, parents really need to worry about connecting with their child, not correcting them, and not expecting perfection. So giving them a big squeeze, deep pressure, really slowing our pace, slowing our words. Don't talk to them. And if they are in a very loud environment, maybe move to a quieter environment. It's very hard to regulate yourself when you're constantly having something that's dysregulating you.
There's so much going on.
So move into that quiet room to regulate. Give hugs and deep pressure, finding a way to just calm, breathe through it, and just be together.
What advice do you have for parents who feel stretched thin during the holidays?
So, as a fellow parent, I understand how much we want to make the holidays as special, as beautiful, as magical as possible for our kids. And we literally won't stop at anything to make that happen. What that means, though, is that parents are often, very often, so stretched to the point that they have zero room to do anything else. And I want to give you the permission to say no to invitations, to say not today, because it's okay if you don't make the Instagram beautiful Christmas decorations or the gingerbread house or the cookies. It's okay. I promise you, your child will not remember every event that you went to over the holidays. They will remember how they felt when they got to spend time with you, snuggling on the couch watching their favorite Christmas movie, or driving around with their family, laughing, looking at the lights, and feeling that connection. The holidays are meant to be spent with family, to give connection, to give support. We don't need to make it all about the best and like the most fashionable things. So get the Instagram out of your mind, the Pinterest things.
Yep.
Yes, they're great to look at,
They're cute, but
they don't need to be a part of your life, your child's life on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, day to day it's quite unrealistic.
And take time to say, you know, this event is not serving me or my child, so I'm going to decline that invitation. That's okay. I often will tell parents, I suggest cutting your schedule by 50%. It seems drastic, but when you look at most people's holiday schedules, they have like 2 to 3 things a day. It's unrealistic, and it's so hard on parents. For us as well, one of our favorite things to do, and we'll be doing them this Sunday, is driving around, looking at the lights. We stop and get our hot cocoa. We're in our comfy pajamas, and we just drive around, and it's so memorable every year. It's like family favorite.
I agree. It's the simple pleasures in life that really mean the most.
So parents, give yourself grace. Give yourself the ability to say no, because you're doing this for yourself as well as your child. So for you parents, one of the things we can suggest is self-care. And I know it seems very hard to do when you have 1,000,001 things on your list, but when you feel that stress and that pressure the most, that's typically when you need the most self-care. You need to reflect and take that time for yourself. And you know what? You can do it any way you see fit, but grocery shopping is not self-care. Make sure you take the time for yourself to do something that really helps your mental state, your regulation. And it's something that can be as simple as 5 minutes, you're going to go sit outside and just listen to outside noises. You can listen to, maybe put in your earbuds and go for a walk.
Read a book.
Read a book,
Take an extra hot shower.
Exactly. Like those are self-care things.
It doesn't have to be big and extravagant. It can just be the very simple.
And it doesn't have to be hours at a time. A 20-minute break to go for a nice shower, that is self-care.
Read a book. Write in a journal.
Reading a whole book.
Read a chapter. Okay, final question. How can families support the transition back to routine after the holidays?
So luckily, we know our autistic kiddos love routine. So typically switching back to routine isn't too hard. But what I would suggest, especially if their routine has gotten completely thrown out of whack with late nights and late wake ups, is transitioning back to a normal sleep schedule. So whether that's, okay, instead of going to bed at 10 o'clock at night, we're going to bring that back slowly to, 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And instead of waking up at 9 o'clock in the morning, we're going to scale that back to, okay, getting ready to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, or whatever you do for your family. So just slowly making those gradual shifts will just make things a little bit easier once they jump back into the school routine. Okay, so to wrap this all up, to the parents, I want to let you know your child will not remember what they got for Christmas from Uncle Bob when they were 8 years old. What they will remember is how you and your family made them feel safe, included, and regulated during their holiday experience. So I just want to say Merry Christmas, and make sure you download our parent survival guide to the holidays.
Merry Christmas. Make sure to click the link in our description to go to the survival guide, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.